3rd and 5. 4 receivers right. Thompson to the left. Milan's going to throw. He's got time. Throws. It's intercepted. It is intercepted by the Tigers. Steven Brogan picks it off for LC, and that's going to wrap it up with 59 seconds to go. Liberty Center is going to head to the regional championship, it looks like, against Milan Edison. Fox is after him. That could be picked off by Colt Cruz at the 28. He's loose. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Tigers.
On the ball, he fumbled. He fumbled the ball. Antwerp's there. Antwerp's got it. Season essentially for both football teams.
Both football teams. Yep.
Jefferson 34, Antwerp 33. Antwerp going for 2 in the win. Ball's on the right hash. 2 receivers each side. Different formation from what they had. And see if they try to roll Ultimus. They've got a man out there to the left. Now they'll motion. And now Ultimus will keep it on a QB run. He's near the goal line. Is he in? He is. Carson Ultimus on a gutsy call, Carl. A little bit of window dressing. Get it on the jet sweep to the short side. Up the sideline. Sam McCaffrey. He is gone. Touchdown, Ottawa Hill.
Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. Joined again this week by Tory Strock. I am Lynn Groll, and I don't know who this stranger is to my left. You know who that is, Coach Strock?
I've seen him around here.
Yeah.
But
back in black, as they say, boys.
Maybe a Neil Schuller impersonator. I don't know if it's actually
Is that
him.
the real McCoy?
I think it is.
Here and in the flesh, so let's go.
Neil Schuller, good to have you back, my friend.
Good to be back, for sure. Good to be back. And
have you missed this?
Yeah, absolutely. As weird as that may be to some of our listeners, but you do. You miss the revelry that we have and the discussion, and yeah, good to be back here. A couple weeks to go, boys. Weeks to go.
I know we've had some listeners that were kind of in panic mode when Schuller wasn't here. And
I was getting all kinds of phone calls the last 2 Monday nights.
I was too. I didn't sleep.
Where's the good-looking guy on the right?
Yeah, I didn't sleep.
It is that way, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
as
we're
they're
here.
viewing it, yeah. What have you been up to, my friend?
Man, busy with the regular day job schedule, that's for sure. So I think I tallied up. I've been home 4 of the last 13 days, so excited to be back for a little bit here.
Is that something you have to do, is have a day job?
I do at this point in time, yeah. Who knows?
Too bad.
We'll see what happens down the road, but, at least for right now.
Yeah, life's too short to work it away, man.
Well,
I'd scrap it.
Tory was questioning your commitment.
Well, I can
he's asked.
It's the old coach in me. That's the coach in me.
I can understand that.
He doesn't practice, but he shows up for the games.
I mean,
right? He's out there on Fridays, but you can't get him anywhere else during the rest of the week.
Well, as I was over at Sandusky, a windy Sandusky. On Friday night, I was thinking about you boys being all cozy up in a box somewhere. And,
our box was heated at Lake last Friday.
And probably had a sandwich. And
no, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
No,
the hospitality area was kind of offset out of, and like by the concession stand. And Lynn and I weren't going to make that trek, but I will tell you this. There were plenty of media members that weren't shy about making the trek over there.
Including some that were not part of the media.
Correct.
We'll leave those names to be
interesting.
If you're a follower of us, you know.
Yeah, if you listen Saturday morning, you know all about who was up there in the hospitality room helping themselves.
I've got my ideas. But
probably pretty close.
Yeah. She was a little. At least at Sandusky, man, it was brisk, windy.
It's a great stadium, isn't it? Though.
Oh, it's a dandy.
It's a great stadium.
It is.
Yeah.
But
great place. Orlando Pace Way or Avenue.
Street,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yeah, whichever one. Yeah, but
Yeah, one of those.
Orlando,
Yeah.
the land of Orlando.
I don't think,
Pace.
not many people know that he was from this area.
Sandusky Blue Streak.
And probably some of our kids that are listening, they have no idea who Orlando Pace is.
Right. Google Hall of Fame and look under Pace.
Yeah, and he kind of made the pancake famous.
That's right.
I mean,
Absolutely. Yep.
it was probably always maybe a thing, but no one, brought it to light like Orlando Pace did, and that was kind of his little Heisman campaign, where stacks of pancakes and things like that. But
I know when he got to Ohio State, he had to be specially fitted for a helmet by Rydell.
I
back
believe
in the
that.
day.
Yeah, that's right.
Big old boy.
Yeah.
And incredibly athletic for his size.
Yeah.
One of those first real athletic O-linemen
Yep.
that kind of ushered in a whole era.
Yep. I would agree.
Doesn't look like the weather's going to improve this Friday. Maybe even a little colder and about the same wind, maybe a little windier. Wasn't as bad as maybe they were forecasting last Friday. Now, the wind did pick up as the game progressed a little bit at Lake. I don't know about at Sandusky, but
Yeah, it was windy throughout at Sandusky. Right as I was driving over, it spit rain the whole way. Kind of shut off for the game, and by the time interviews rolled around post-game, it started up again. The nice window there with no rain, but the wind did not lay down all night.
maybe get some snow in the lake effect areas, the way it sounded for Friday night.
Yeah, which I believe we'll probably both be in the lake effect areas.
Well, I don't think we are going to be.
Yeah, we're not sure where we're going to be yet.
Okay, gotcha.
Still up in the air on the situation at Parma and at Lima.
Gotcha.
Sounds like two tough places to get into, so we may be on the sidelines just watching on Friday night, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm hearing or seeing 20s. And when you talk that lake effect snow, you get up there in Northeast Ohio, buddy. I got caught at a Kent State, Northern Illinois game in that stuff on a Maction game. Oh, my.
It's no joke.
Oh, it's no joke. And it may not even be in the forecast. It'll just hit you.
You bet.
And then next thing you know, it's the blizzard, It's crazy.
They're saying
the
that
Brown Steelers game.
Yeah,
last
right.
Thursday.
Yeah.
It's a good example. Of
they're
that.
saying there's a chance for lake effect pretty much all week
Yeah.
where you get that stuff.
It'll just come out of nowhere and just blast you. It's a
Finley got some snow last Friday, right, at the Patrick Henry Bluffton game for a little bit.
It was wet. Snow, rain. It was wet, especially late in that game. And, of course, it stopped at the end, But, yeah.
I tell you what, we've been pretty fortunate the first 12 weeks, I should say. We didn't have much weather outside of that hurricane remnants there, midway point of the season. But otherwise, it's been a pretty uneventful weather season. But we're going to get the cold and snow and wind.
All of it wrapped in
that time of year.
Well, right as it's really starting to get to the grinder part of it all, right? So add in a little weather element on top of, the stiff competition, and we're going to find out.
Well, Friday noon, Miami Redhawks at Bowling Green, high of 28. And that wind, that'll whistle right through Deutsch Perry Stadium. So that could be interesting on Friday. Falcons will have their hands full, I'll tell you that right now, boys.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
You were complaining about the weather at Ball State on Saturday, and that was in the 40s. And I don't know that you can handle that on Friday.
That was bitter.
You might have to pull a Rex Lindgren and find your way into the press box or something.
Yeah, it was bitter on Saturday. It was bitter in Muncie, man. I mean, it looked like, the game started at 2, and it looked like it was 6 o'clock. Just, dark the whole game, and, God, the wind was terrible. And, of course, I'm a dog. I battled it in that. But, holy smoke, luckily I had the old Carhartt Black Swamp coat.
Mm-hmm.
But,
man, he's getting a little soft, Schuller.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
I saw a couple pictures of Cinda. She looked completely
Cinda was
content
fine.
and happy.
Yeah. Yeah, she was under a stack of blankets, which I refuse to do. Because if you're a dude under a blanket at a football game, you better check yourself. It's like if you're a dude, seriously, you see these husbands carrying stacks of blankets and they bundle up with their wife. I mean, come on, man. You've got to do some self-evaluating.
You lose your man card if you use a blanket?
In my opinion, you do. I don't care who you are. In fact, Cinda had 2 blankets, and she spread the one out. She goes, I did this so you can sit on it. I said, get that away from me. I'm sitting on the metal bleacher. Now, halfway through the first quarter, I'm thinking, damn. my behind's a little chilly.
Yeah.
But You think I sat on that blanket? No.
Well, once it gets numb, you don't have to worry about it, right?
No, I didn't.
Well, if you make a statement like that out of the gate, you can't rescind it.
No.
There's no going back.
No, I just bought the farm because now going forward, anybody listening, I can't be seen near a blanket.
No.
And I'd rather have a cold-related medical experience than I would be caught under a blanket. I just think it makes you look so soft if you're a guy and you're under a blanket, for crying out loud.
What about the hand warmers?
Oh, I'm all for those.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got those babies in the gloves.
Okay.
You can't see them.
Right.
But, heated vest. I got a nice heated vest for Christmas last year. Had that bad boy cranked up. But, again, you can't see it.
Right.
I'm not going to do anything outward where somebody's going to judge me. But I saw these guys with their wives under the blanket, and it just blows my mind, man. God. Huh. But I'm sure somebody I'll hear about that from somebody.
Yeah, you will.
But,
you will.
Yeah.
On to the state semifinals this week, guys. We have 3 area teams still playing here in week 15.
I tell you, that represents Northwest Ohio well. At this stage of the game, not many participants left. 28 teams, so to have 3 in there, kudos to those 3 squads and the body of work that they put together throughout the year. To stay healthy, to stay competitive, to keep going at this point is special, no matter what.
Yeah, it's rare air. I mean, it shows you how hard it is to get there. And we live in this little bubble, like we've talked about, and the teams around here that we think are really, really good, virtually unbeatable, as far as the statewide, the big picture, anybody out there can get you on any given night, especially now. So kudos to Central Catholic, Liberty Center, and Columbus Grove, man. They've passed every test.
Yeah, their tests and challenges get tough this week.
More formidable, for sure.
Yeah.
And the following, if they advance.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's take a break, come back, look at our prediction records, and then look at the state semifinals from around the area and around the state.
Hard-working individuals have been the heart of the Gerken companies for generations. Together we construct the highways and infrastructure that strengthen our communities. Gerken is seeking rock-solid performers. We offer generous benefits, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. Want to be part of something big, steady, and stable with room to grow? Whether you're experienced or just starting your career, we encourage you to apply at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Thank you to the Gerken Companies, title sponsor of our podcast this season, and our basketball podcast and gamecast coming up here very soon. Boys basketball getting underway this week. We still got football to take care of, and hopefully next week as well we have some football to take care of. Girls got underway last weekend already.
They did. A lot of schools played a double weekend, Friday, Saturday. I know Napoleon did. And, you said boys are kicking off this week. And then here's Greg Badenhop, who's in an empty gym. He probably has a half dozen kids.
I think he has 6 kids, I believe, from what I've heard.
So, those guys, you can only do so much with 6 dudes. And
right.
Probably a lot of 3-on-3 and shooting drills and free throws and things like that. But, toughest coaching job anywhere in any sport, Liberty Center basketball. Yeah. But Greg wouldn't trade this for the world.
No,
guarantee
he would not. After 4 weeks of playoff predictions, Braden Martin is leading the way 60-10. I am 54-12, same as Tory. Neil Schuller 56-13 as we go into the state semifinals this week. Overall, Strock still with a half-game edge on Braden. 342-64 is Tory, 842 winning percentage. Braden is 350-71, 831 winning percentage. He's a half game back. I know you guys have picked totally different amounts with our coverage each week. I am 340-66, 2 games back. Neil, 337-73, 822 winning percentage, 7 games back. He's been hovering around that 8-7 mark all year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really goes back to week 1.
It does.
No,
that's pretty much where it started.
I'm glad you said it. The one I wish I could have back from last week, I kind of took a chance and knew it was kind of risky, but ended up being a really good game. I took Medina Highland over Avon, which we knew would be a tall order, but boy, Medina Highland was right there. It ended up 28-20. Is that the one?
28-20. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tells you how good Avon is.
Oh,
when
absolutely.
you look what Anthony Wayne did to Whitmer, right? And then look what Medina Highland did to Anthony Wayne, and then Avon beats them. And then Avon could get knocked off this week. They might not, but they could. Jeez, oh Pete's.
Yeah, I tell you what, Division II, Region 6.
Oh.
For sure, Region 6. But then if you look at the broader picture, Division II in the state of Ohio
It's ridiculous.
is an absolute gauntlet.
You know, Lynn and I talked Saturday morning, Neil, on Rise and Rewind. Massillon got knocked off by Big Walnut in a game where they were just a 4-touchdown favorite.
Absolutely. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, nobody had that circled. Maybe the Big Walnut fans, but nobody.
Even
had
some
that.
of them didn't.
Yeah. I'm going to give you the Cal Preps and Fantastic 50 spreads for this week for Divisions 1, 2, and 4, where we don't have area teams playing. Division 1, St. Edward, 9-5, favored by 6 over Olentangy Liberty by Ohio Fantastic 50. Cal Preps has St. Ed's winning 21-20.
I'll tell you what, St.
Friday
Ed's
night.
just keeps finding a way this postseason.
Yeah, and they lost some guys from last year, obviously, but those, sophomores are now juniors are now seniors, and so, I mean, they've got a season and a third under their belt now, and so.
Right. Well, and between what they've done the last 3 years, that's 3.5 seasons in,
Correct.
or excuse me, 4.5 seasons in 3.
Correct.
So they played a lot of football over there in Cleveland area.
Yes, they have.
Archbishop Moeller, 13-1. They are favored by 24 against Centerville, who is 11-3 according to Ohio Fantastic 50. Cal Preps has Moeller winning that one 38-19 on Friday night. That one is at Cincinnati Princeton. Lakewood St. Ed's and Olentangy Liberty are playing at Mansfield's Arlen Field.
Another great stadium, one of my favorite venues.
Yeah, that's a great,
another
great
works project.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it sure
Old
is.
Concrete. Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So it's kind of down in that little
Yes, it
valley.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yes, it does.
Division I state championship game will be Friday, December 6th at 7:30. They get the prime slot in Canton for their state championship game. Who do we like in D1 to play next week?
Moeller and St. Ed's, I would say. But that's kind of the easy choice.
Well, and I tell you what, I had Mentor winning it all, which obviously St. Ed's knocked them off last week. I agree, Tory. I think Moeller and St. Ed's are kind of the two that rise to the top there. That said, St. Ed's will have their, if that's true, St. Ed's will have their hands full in that state final.
Yeah, they will.
Division II, Archbishop Hoban, 12-2, is playing Avon. Archbishop Hoban favored by 2 by Ohio Fantastic 50. Cal Preps has Hoban winning 27-24. That game is at Akron's in Infocision Stadium on Friday night. So somewhat close in each one of those spreads in that matchup. And then Anderson is favored by 26 over Big Walnut, who upset Massillon last week, according to Ohio Fantastic 50. And then Cal Preps has Anderson winning that one 38-21. That matchup is at Dayton's Welcome Stadium on Friday night. State championship in Division II. They have the first time slot Thursday, December 5th at 7 p.m.
The question for Big Walnut's going to be, obviously, they're a prohibitive underdog like they were last week, but can you get up back-to-back weeks? Because if you're Anderson sitting there, you're going, thank you to Big Walnut. Because if Massillon plays clean, they had 26 penalties in that game, Neil.
Yeah.
26.
Unthinkable.
Yes, unthinkable.
For a Massillon team.
Yeah. I mean, it's unacceptable. And so if they play a clean game, then it's probably Massillon and Anderson, and, that's anybody's pick. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. If Big Walnut pulls this one off, kudos to him.
Yeah, I mean, for my money, I think the winner of the Hoban-Avon game is who's ultimately going to be your state champion.
Hoban, I think, has knocked Avon out 2 of the last 3 years, or 3 of the last 4.
I think you're right on that.
They've knocked the Eagles out quite a bit here the last few years.
I think that one's tight.
I do, too.
Yeah, that one looks like really, really close.
If Avon's going to get them, it's going to be this year. They could.
Yeah.
Division 4, another division that we don't have any local teams playing. Give you the spreads there for D4. Glenville is favored by 3 over Sandusky Perkins. according to Ohio Fantastic 50. Cal Preps likes Glenville a lot better. 28-7 is their pick. Tar Blooders 28-7.
Well, I do know that Glenville is loaded with some young talent. I don't know how many of those guys contribute right now. Perkins has shown their vulnerability here through the postseason, I think. I mean, they've definitely not been having these blowout runs that they've had in the regular season. That one doesn't surprise me to hear that Glenville's favored like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fantastic 50 just by 3. Yeah. Quite contrast there. That game is at Clyde High School's Robert J. Bishop Stadium on Friday night. The other Division IV matchup this week is Taft against Natahooten Indian Valley. Taft is favored by 1, according to Ohio Fantastic 50. Cal Preps likes Indian Valley 31-30 in that matchup coming up on Friday night there.
So a bit of a coin toss there, depending on who you like.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I think, as I said with the other one, I think the Perkins-Glenville winner is who ultimately gets this done at this state.
yeah, that's going to be an absolute street fight.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a bare knuckles. Perkins, Glenville, whew.
Look out. Lock your doors.
That's going to be physical. Yep.
You bet.
Division IV state championship scheduled for Saturday, December 7th at 7:30 p.m. They will round out the state championship schedule in Canton on Saturday night at 7:30.
Usually a pretty thin crowd the last game on Saturday night, you know.
Yeah.
The people that have been there, you know, for all the games prior, some of them are a little tired, a little dehydrated in some cases, and their wives are texting them going, hey, when are you coming home?
Yeah.
And they're ready to go at that point. But it'd be a good one to stay for.
Especially if the weather's not
correct.
great. It was nice weather a year ago on Saturday.
Perfect.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yep, it was.
A little rainy. I had Friday night, I believe. Yeah, Friday. And little rainy, little misty.
Yeah.
But not bad on the temperature front. So
Yeah. Let's take another break, come back, and look at our area teams playing in the state semifinals this Friday night.
High school seniors, uncertain that college is right for you? Concerned about the cost of higher education? At the Gerken Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods even without a degree. That's a good living straight out of high school with no tuition debt. Starting pay between recent college grads and those with high school diplomas is closer than you might think. So if you enjoy teamwork, working outdoors, and being part of something meaningful, consider your options at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. All right, guys, get into this week's picks, give you a little info on where we're at as far as seeds remaining. Seeds remaining, not doing any favors to the 16 teams per region crowd right now. Of the 28 teams remaining, 16 of them are 1 seeds. Then you have 8 2 seeds, so 24 of the 28 are 1 or 2 seeds.
Wow.
You have 1 4 seed, 2 5 seeds, and then 1 7 seed, which is St. Ed's, which, no surprise.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah, 7 seed with an asterisk.
Yeah.
Lost all of the teams that were double-digit seeds from a week ago.
Yeah, and
What do you make of that? Cream rises to the top at some point.
It always does. And then I think, aside from the fact that it's neat for some teams to get to the postseason and play extra ball, by and large, even when we had 4-team regions, okay, like that's how it was when I played, 4-team regions, the best teams typically were in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, are there some outliers that could have made noise? Absolutely. But I mean, the proof's in the pudding there. The 1s and 2s make up 24 of the 28 teams remaining. I mean, it is what it is.
Right. Well, and it just goes back to what we talked about ad nauseum, that add a strength of schedule component, whittle that list down, and let's tighten that up.
You have 3 playing this week that would have not made the playoffs back in your day.
Yeah.
Yep.
3.
Out of 28.
Yeah. 8's probably the right number for what we're trying to achieve here.
It is the right number. It is the right number.
Maybe you finish this thing up a week earlier for the basketball programs.
Yeah.
Because Liberty Center, you're supposed to play, what can you play now, 22 games?
22.
So you're trying to play 22 games. You have a lot of 3-4 double weekends if you're Liberty Center, and these kids that are playing football and basketball or wrestling or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
wear and tear.
Right?
Yeah, and they're going into their wrestling and basketball seasons with a lot of bumps and bruises.
And these wrestlers are trying to,
get to weight.
Things have gotten different with how they can drop weight, but
Right,
they still are dropping weight. Maybe we get this thing over this week. It's where it used to always be,
Yep.
week of Thanksgiving. But since they went to 7, it's a little harder. You'd have to play some more games on. Can't play on Thanksgiving, obviously, but
Right.
Friday and Saturday you'd have to do 3 on one day and 4 on the other.
Yep.
Doable, though.
Doable.
It's been done.
Could
yeah.
be done. I don't know.
Well, and I think there's an aspect of it, too, of just like kids' mental health, right? I mean, kids need a break.
Yeah. No question.
Just to unplug, unwind, and when you go from one thing to another, do they really get that?
No, they don't.
So in addition to the physical side of it, I think
It's
that there's an
16
aspect
weeks
there.
if you get to a state championship.
That's
College
right.
and pro don't do that. They
Nope.
get 2 bye weeks now, right?
bye,
Those
yep.
colleges get 2 byes, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And they're playing 3 less games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
you think back to August when we started this affair.
Yep.
That think
Yeah.
about what all has transpired in life since August when we started. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, and it's tough too for the winter coaches. Football's fortunate because it's the first sport. Kids are all geeked up. Start of the school year, everybody's ready to go. But the motivation levels in some places may wane a little bit after a long playoff run now. Oh my God, because the winter season's long as it is. I mean, that's you're practicing over Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff, and so it takes a toll. Those basketball coaches are the ones that really feel it, man. They really do.
Yeah, definitely. Thursday practice of Thanksgiving. Always the one that you want.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little more significance back in the olden
Oh,
days
yeah.
when you were playing a state championship
Yeah.
game the next day or on Saturday. But
Yeah. It's
it's
awesome.
good to see the lights on. I know the Liberty Center lights were on when we arrived here at American Freedom Energy tonight. They were still out there going at it, and guarantee you they are at Gallagher Stadium at Central and down at Clymer Stadium at Columbus Grove.
Yeah, we were. This is funny. We're practicing in the playoffs. I can't say this without laughing. My junior year, Normie Zeider senior year, we're practicing week 12. Okay, for our regional championship game, and it was cold. I mean, it was probably 15, 20 degrees at practice under lights. Okay, and the footballs are rock hard, right? Rock hard. And Blake Lindgren, who ended up, playing at Wake Forest and worked out with the Lions, Blake Lindgren's a ball boy, and he was hell on wheels, Blake was, okay? And we're out there, and it's probably 20 degrees, and everybody's numb, and Blake was always screwing around, and he took one of those brand new footballs, and he just let it fly, and it hit one of our assistant coaches right in the side of the face.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, this coach wanted to kill Blake. But what are you going to do? It's Rex's boy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we were trying not to let him see us laugh. And, I mean, we're laughing so hard, we're crying. And I'm not going to say the assistant's name. He's no longer there. He's been long gone from there. But, it was priceless.
That's like getting hit by a 20-pound rock
It
on
was.
that day.
Just the sting of that.
It was terrible.
Did it draw blood?
It didn't draw blood, but, I mean, he had a shiner within 5 minutes.
How far was this? What are we talking about distance here?
Yeah, I mean, 10, 15 yards away. Keep in mind Blake was in elementary, but he let it fly. And we could see it was heading towards him, and we're like,
like slow
shoot.
motion.
Oh, yeah. And it got him square in the face, right in the side of the face. I'll never forget that. I think when I see the lights on, like Lynn said, and I think of this time of year practicing late at night, I think of Blake Lindgren smoking him in the face. It was priceless.
What did Rex say?
Nothing. I think he gave him that had to hurt, Because Rex is kind of like a masochist. He just enjoyed seeing people in pain.
So you got to keep your head on a swivel, coach.
There was no sympathy.
And that's got to be the other side because the guy just completely unaware it's coming.
Oh, yeah. I just got blindsided, but that's a honest to goodness truth. I'd be curious to talk to Normie Zeiter and see if he remembers exactly who got hit, because I do. And it was great.
That's probably shouldn't be laughing. No. But boy, oh boy, that
we have a listener out there
that was pain.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
True story.
All right, guys, let's start Division 3. Toledo Central Catholic going after their third straight state championship. Youngstown Ursuline is their opponent this week at Elyria. The Central Catholic Irish 13-1, 33.9 points per game, giving up 11.6. Youngstown Ursuline scoring 36.6, giving up just 8.2. Toughest test for Central in a while, probably.
I think so. If you look at this, certainly all of last season, with the exception of that state championship game against Bishop Watterson last year, I think this game, and perhaps Detroit Catholic Central back in the middle part of the season, by far the two toughest tests, Fighting Irish versus Fighting Irish here on both sides of the ball.
Different colors, though.
Different colors. You look at Ursuline, one loss on the season. They're 13-1. Week 1 so we're talking all the way back in August. Week 1 against Walsh Jesuit, who just lost this last week. They lost to them 35-37 back on week 1 and ran the table from them. So, Lynn, you talk about holding opponents to an average of 8 points per game. They gave up 37 that night. That's factored into that. So that tells you all you need to know about Ursuline. On the other side of things, Central Catholic, the thing that impressed me the most by far with their game this past Friday night was how they controlled the line of scrimmage from start to finish of the game. It was really a case where, as you look at Padua Franciscan, they had no answer for that on either side of the ball. At first, you watch the first series or two, and, Tory, this is kind of like you got a lot of hype there, and okay, did somebody miss an assignment? We get those things tweaked up and adjusted as the game goes. Not the case. I mean, they were all over Padua Franciscan. Additionally, now the one thing about Central Catholic, starting quarterback Isaiah Fox out with a collarbone injury, will be done for the rest of the season. Had surgery on that. I talked to him last Friday night. So a young Ali Badoun, a sophomore, the backup, certainly capable, but stepping in here and having to elevate his game at a pretty critical time. So Central Catholic loves to run the ball. Coach Dempsey wants to get yardage running the football. They established that well against Padua Franciscan. They're going to need to do it again against Ursuline, who has been, albeit very stingy with yardage. So Central has a tough test this coming week.
I know who I'm going with.
Give you the spreads from Fantastic 50 and also Cal Preps. Fantastic 50 likes Ursuline by 11 over Central Catholic. Cal Preps likes Central 24-21.
Of note, when you look at a 24-21 score, and we talked about conditions earlier, Central 3 of 7 this last week on extra point tries.
3 of 7?
3 of 7. Including a failed 2-point conversion. They were trying to get one back. But something I have not seen covering them for 2 years now was the struggles they had on PAT. Now, that being said, I guarantee you a placeholder, kicker, spending maybe a little bit extra time down at Gallagher Stadium this week to get that ironed out, suffice it to say. But when you look at a 3-point spread, those things matter. I know something that Coach Dempsey will be putting focus on this week for sure.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I cannot pick against Greg Dempsey. I can't do it. And those kids, Neil, you said a mouthful when you talked about their dominance at the line of scrimmage. And over the years, I've seen Youngstown Ursuline play quite a bit of football. Now, not recently. And I know the past doesn't matter, but I kind of know their brand, their style, and they are rugged and physical, man. That Youngstown area, Northeast Ohio, I mean, they play some physical football.
Blue Bloods over there.
They are blue bloods. And so you think of the Ursulines and the Youngstown Moonies in their heyday and things like that. But I am going to go with Greg Dempsey and the Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish. They may have to come back in this one. There could be some lead changes. But when the dust settles, they're going to find a way to get this thing done. And it may not be pretty, and it certainly won't be easy, but give me Toledo Central Catholic.
Can't believe I'm doing this. First time in 6 years, I'm not picking Central.
Ooh.
I'm going with Ursuline in this matchup.
He did it.
Fantastic 50 was like,
right out there.
I know.
They were impressive a week ago in their picks. I think they only missed 3.
Yeah, they're getting down. They're getting good.
And they got them by 11.
Yeah.
They know something I don't know.
Yeah, and the one they missed really doesn't count, the Massillon Big Walnut. That was such an outlier.
Yeah. Nobody was
You
gonna,
almost got to kick that out.
Yeah.
They know something. They got them by
I know
11.
They do. They're like these odds makers in Vegas, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going with Ursuline in this matchup. I can't believe I'm doing it. First time in 6 years of covering Central that I'm not picking the Irish.
Yeah.
Well, you are picking the Irish. Just
Well,
the
I
other
am.
Irish.
Just, yeah.
Well, and you look at this matchup, and, on that same regard, certainly the toughest matchup the Ursulines had, at least since week 1.
Sure.
So we have to factor that in, too.
Yeah.
We talk about this with Liberty Center and some other programs where it's like, the mystique that program has. Don't think that Ursuline doesn't know where Central Catholic's been the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, understand that. And to that end, Coach Dempsey, the Central Catholic Fighting Irish, the guys who are playing that game Friday night, they've been here before. This is familiar turf. There's not anybody in that program that hasn't, been to at least 2 of these and been deep on their freshman year as well. So there's nothing here that's unfamiliar territory to the Central Catholic Fighting Irish.
Yeah, that one's going to be a dandy, isn't it? And that's where you'll be,
I
Neil?
will be at that one, yes. Yep, you bet.
That's great.
Yep.
Other matchup in Division 3 in the state semis, Bishop Watterson 14-0 against London, also 14-0. But the odds makers really, really like Bishop Watterson. This one, Ohio Fantastic 50 has Bishop Watterson by 20. Cal Preps has Bishop Watterson winning 35-12 in that matchup.
Yeah, I think Bishop Watterson is, they returned a bunch of people from that team from last year. They're built a little bit different this year. We talk about Ironton, been close. Is this the year? This might be the year for Bishop Watterson. They are a tough squad.
You've been saying that all year.
Yeah, they're a tough squad. So I would not be surprised at all to see them, standing when this one's over with London. Ursuline Central, I think, is, a little bit more in doubt, but we'll see. Good chance that we have a rematch of the Division III state championship.
Division 3 state championship Friday, December 6th at 3 p.m. in the afternoon in Canton. See if the Irish of Central Catholic can get back there and go for 3 in a row. I think there's only been a dozen or so teams in state history that have won 3 straight.
Yeah, it's not many. It's rare. You talk about rare air.
Yeah, very, very rare.
Real interesting before we go to break. We talked about St. Ed's, and as I was prepping for that Whitmer St. Ed's game, I know I didn't get a chance to talk about this. I've been out for the last couple of weeks. You look at their record, 50% of the time since their head coach has been at Lakewood St. Ed's, state champions. Been there 10 years, won 5 state championships since he's been there. And one more with Minter Lake Catholic as well. So not too many. You talk about the dominance of a program, not too many people that can say 50% of the time here we win state championships.
Yeah, they've won most of, or maybe all their state championships here in the last few years, a decade or so.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. But, hats off to Coach Lombardo over there. I mean, man, oh, man, that's a machine.
Got it figured out, no doubt about it. Take a break, come back, and talk about Division 5, where Liberty Center and South Range will rematch from 2022. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine. The Swanton Welding Company proudly supports our local student athletes and coaches. We're committed to being your local steel fabrication company in Northwest Ohio and building projects across the country. For job opportunities at the Swanton Welding Company, visit www.swantonweld.com or visit them at 407 Zider Way in Swanton. K. Kern Painting is a proud sponsor of Northwest Ohio Athletics. K. Kern Painting was formed in 1998 by Kinsey Kern in Toledo and now has a footprint in Toledo, Cleveland, and Michigan, and has road crews traveling throughout the United States. For a free estimate or job opportunities with K. Kern Painting, visit their website at kkernpainting.com or call 419-351-1250 or stop by their Toledo location at 211 North Reynolds Road. Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast. Thank you to all of our sponsors. A couple Liberty Center sponsors in there with some connections to this week.
Yeah, you ain't
Kern
kidding.
family and Zider family.
Yep.
Can return to the top since 1997. They both had some connections to that season when they stood at the top of the mountain.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? That's these programs, the last names, a lot of similarities over the years. You look at the back of those jerseys and a lot of similarities.
Rematch of 2 years ago in the state semifinals played at Clyde. That night it was all South Range 35-0 as Liberty Center and South Range are going to duke it out again. The Tigers 14-0, 48.7 points per game, giving up just 4.9. South Range also 14-0, 41.1 points per game, giving up 13.7. This game is at Parma on Friday night. You were at that game 2 years ago at Clyde with me, I believe, Coach.
Yes, and Grant.
And Grant, your son was with us, yeah. And that was boy, that South Range team was really good.
I've never seen Liberty Center in the trenches get pushed around like they did that night. And Liberty Center was really good in the trenches, really good. That's a testament to how dominant South Range was. And I haven't seen it prior, haven't seen it since. That was a unique evening.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. They don't have Shane Lidstrom anymore, that outstanding slot receiver that they had, and Billy Skirpuk, their really good quarterback. I think he's pitching maybe at Tennessee now, is Billy.
Maybe
Shane Lidstrom's playing football at Ohio Dominican.
Okay.
Now.
He's tearing up Division II, I got to imagine. He was super, super quick. Man, he was.
Coaches changed at South Range. One of the assistants that was there for 11 years, he's the new head coach, and things really haven't changed.
No.
They're these two teams are, boy, if you watch them on film, very similar. I'd give Liberty Center the edge in the trenches this season. I don't know what we said in the before the game 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe we said the same thing. I don't know.
We might have, and so you took the words out of my mouth, Lynn. I like Liberty in the trenches this year more.
Yeah.
That South Range team, that's a maybe a once in school history type offensive and defensive lineman. I mean, they were nasty, and I don't know if they'll ever have that again. Now they're good. We know they're good, but I like Liberty Center in the trenches this year a little bit more. But like Lynn said, we might have been saying that 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that game starts and you're going, whoa.
Yeah. Well, and we just talked about Ursuline, Youngstown, blue-blooded area, rugged. Canfield just outside of, just outside of Youngstown. So these guys at South Range are cut from that same Northeast Ohio kind of gritty, cloth. So would not surprise me a bit. I mean, Liberty's going to have their test of the year. I mean, I look at this personally akin to that Oak Harbor type game where they're going to have to come strapped up. It's going to be a 4-quarter affair.
Yeah.
Have a slippery quarterback, a lot like Michael Alon for South Range. Tristan Toy is his name, 5'10", 170, so very similar to Alon. They have a really good running back, last name Dominguez. They have some really nice linemen. I know they have a couple really good linebackers that were all district as well at South Range. And, Liberty Center, boy, they're outstanding in the trenches, and their depth just kind of wins out. a lot.
It does. It does. And where Liberty Center's, God, they're just, you almost have to, on the defensive front, make a commitment. And Edison did this a couple times Friday night, where they just made a concerted effort to just submarine, bear crawl, make piles, let the linebackers clean up. And even when they did that a couple times, Waylon Wrench, he'd make a jump cut, kind of sidestep, shuffle, pick his way through and get 4 or 5. But I haven't seen anybody this year on film or in person that can lock horns with Liberty Center and defend their run game. I think you got to do something unique. I mean, I think you got to say, we're gonna pick our poison. We're gonna put all 11 men within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and if you're gonna beat us, you're gonna do it throwing. But maybe South Range is good enough they don't have to. But I just don't know anybody good enough to lock horns.
It's always hard to compare these teams that are so on opposite sides of the state.
I know.
I know. The experts like South Range's regular season schedule better. I would probably say Liberty Center's probably played a tougher teams in the playoffs so far. Agree. That's just my opinion. I don't know. It's hard to compare because you don't have anything to compare it to.
Well, and it's hard to tell on film too.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, you can kind of get an idea, but somebody might look dominant on film, but the guy or guys are dominate and maybe aren't very good, but you don't know that when you're watching a team from across the state. It's just hard to discern some of it until they lock horns. And even 2 years ago, I heard how dominant South Range was, and I wasn't hearing it. I liked Liberty in that game, and then that game kicks off, and I'm going, these guys are different. So who knows?
Yeah, they're both traditional powers. Their styles are ingrained in their communities. It's going to be a backstreet brawl, pretty much, is what this is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about Liberty's running game. Thus far, that's been the X factor for them, and I don't know if anybody can stop it. We're going to find out, and if anybody can, I think South Range is up to the task. You think about that Northeast Ohio area, we talk about the NWOAL for our listeners. That Northeast Ohio area is akin to that, right? Week in, week out, you got to be ready to go on your regular season schedule. And rest assured that South Range is battle tested.
Yeah, no doubt.
That said, I do like Liberty's schedule, top to bottom, particularly in the playoffs, a little bit better than what I've seen here looking at South Range and studying up on this. But, that's my take.
Yeah, Liberty Center got by Oak Harbor a couple weeks ago. That was maybe their one that they had to overcome. And maybe South Range, they're thinking it was last week against Poland Seminary. They were down 16-7 in the fourth quarter and came back with a touchdown pass with under 20 seconds to go to win that one.
Well, what's interesting is they saw that Poland Seminary team earlier in the season back in week 7, won 38-30. So 2 close matchups there. But, hard to beat the same team twice in a season. They did it, obviously. But also one of those things to go back and look at in-season film, understanding that game, maybe where you would have made some adjustments on both sides of the ball. I mean, hats off to South Range. But, I would say hats off to Liberty facing 2 formidable opponents back-to-back in Oak Harbor and Edison and getting through that gauntlet.
Yeah, and you even go back to Liberty Benton.
Absolutely.
That was they're good.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Liberty Center's earned this, man.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Experts, Ohio Fantastic 50 has Liberty Center by 3, and Cal Preps has Liberty Center winning 31-28.
Wow.
3 points on each side. We don't know if we're doing a game, so we're going to pick this, Strock.
Okay.
I'm taking the Tigers.
Yeah, I too am going with Liberty Center. I thought that last week was the week Liberty Center met their match. I didn't necessarily think Edison would beat them. I just thought that they were going to have to really, really scrape and claw for every inch. And they did. They always do that. But those running backs, man, the linemen, I told Lynn during the broadcast, those linemen will get a little push and give them a crease and get them 3 or 4 yards. But the extra 2 or 3 yards is just sheer determination by the backs. So a run that should be 3 or 4 yards ends up being 6 or 7 because the combination of the linemen and the tenacity of those running backs. And I have no reason to think that's going to change this week based on what I've seen from Liberty Center. They're rugged and they're built for this.
Yep, I'm going to make it a sweep and go with Liberty Center as well. Looking really their last 3 weeks of the playoffs. to rise to the task the way that they have against the opponents that they've had, I think that says something about Liberty Center. I think they got a bad taste in their mouth from being in that state final last year and coming up a little bit short. They want to get back, and I think that they will get it done.
Yeah, I think that South Range's passing game, Tristan Toy's pretty good. I mean, he throws it, and he looks good doing it. He's a pure passer.
They want to throw that, or they want to run it.
They want to run it.
But they can throw it.
They can throw it, and I think that's going to stress Liberty's defense a little bit like Oak Harbor did with Michael Lalonde. I think it's a similar type you mentioned a minute ago, Neil. You said the same thing. So,
but depending on the weather, does that come into an X factor for that?
Oh, sure it does.
Game?
Yeah. Sure it does.
I think it was raining a week ago when they played Poland Seminary and they had the wind. So I guess I don't know.
I don't.
Would you rather deal with snow or rain if you're a quarterback?
Snow.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be cold and windy, and I think both sides are used to practicing with where South Range is, the lake effect probably stuff that they get, and Liberty out here in the no hills and the wind rolls through here.
The linemen are going to be bare armed.
Oh yeah.
Throw that out the window with those guys now. A slippery ball.
Right.
Well, that's where I'm going with it. Right. A team that can control the ground game the way that Liberty does.
Yep.
In a bad weather environment, if you got a passing team versus a running team, give me the running team every
advantage.
night.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In the other Division 5 state semifinal, Ironton is playing West Liberty Salem. That game is at Chillicothe High School. Ironton, they are favored by 39 by Drew Pastor's Ohio Fantastic 50. Have them a 99% chance of winning that game. This is a state semifinal. Yeah. Cal Prep says Ironton winning this. You guys ready for this? 50-14.
50. Wow.
Well, I mean, they've done nothing but basically rolled through their schedule this season that exact way. So
this Ironton team they're a little different.
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
If you've watched some film on them, boy, they are rugged up front, have all kinds of skill. We'll see who they get in the state championship. I think it'll be a good one.
I do too.
South Range or Liberty Center.
I do too.
Yeah, that's going to be a physical matchup, isn't it?
That's who South Range played 2 years ago in the final, right? Remember, we both won.
Yes,
and
they rolled.
We both won a friendly wager from our good friend Tony Haynes.
Yes,
and he paid up. He got us.
I think this Ironton team's a little bit different than that one.
It is,
from what I've seen.
Yeah, Tony bought the fool's gold 2 years ago.
Ironton team against that South Range. This Ironton team against that South Range team.
Maybe a stalemate.
I don't know. What would you think from what you've seen?
Overtime?
Yeah, I mean, even Steven, but that South Range team 2 years ago was crazy good.
Yeah,
crazy good. But this Ironton team, watching them play that, was it St. Francis, New York? Yeah, had the 49er looking get up.
Yeah.
I mean, they looked like IMG Academy, this St. Francis team
absolutely.
Did. And
Ironton rolled.
Took them to task.
Ironton's defensive line's filthy.
Yeah.
56-19 was that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Division 5 state championship scheduled for Saturday, December 7th, 3 p.m. I think it was the same time a year ago that we were at Canton for that one. Hopefully we can get back there and
great.
Have Rex in our booth again, probably, unless he can find another booth. There's plenty of room in all those booths.
I know, but he likes being with us. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, can you blame him, really?
No, I can't. Yeah. But he'll find his way into our booth, guaranteed.
And he probably won't bring us any food.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Got one more.
Maybe throw him a headset.
We had him at halftime. Last year.
Yeah, smaller doses.
Well, you got to be careful because
we don't have a mute button.
Correct. Right.
We don't have a producer that can delay what he's saying. I mean, there's a 15-second delay between when we're talking and when you hear it on our network.
Yeah, but that might not be
scrambling.
We would need somebody with a bleep button. At all times.
Yeah, he's unfiltered. Okay. We just can't have that.
No, we can't have that. We got to stay on the air, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. FCC will revoke our license.
Going to take one more break, come back and talk about Division 7, Columbus Grove and Marion Local coming up this week.
High school seniors, uncertain that college is right for you? Concerned about the cost of higher education? At the Gerken Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods even without a degree. That's a good living straight out of high school with no tuition debt. Starting pay between recent college grads and those with high school diplomas is closer than you might think. So if you enjoy teamwork, working outdoors, and being part of something meaningful, consider your options at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Ready to hit the links? Grab your clubs and head to White Pines Golf Course at 1640 County Road 2 in Swanton. For a tee time or to sign up for their events, call 419-875-5535 or visit whitepinesgc.com. Also, sign up for their early membership of $885 or $796.50 for seniors 55 and older. Early membership is play now, and greens fees are covered for the rest of 2024 and all of 2025. When you play White Pines Golf Course, the experience will exceed your expectations. Thank you to White Pines Golf Course for their continued support. Title sponsor of Saturday Morning's Rise and Rewind. We will be back this Saturday, right, Coach?
I say
for
we got
our final edition, probably, of the year.
Got to have one last ride together to either we put a bow on this thing with local teams, hopefully not, or we talk about the state finals.
We can definitely do that. Division 6 state semifinals. Give you the odds for those games coming up since we don't have a local team there as well. Kirtland, 14-0, playing Northmore, also 14-0. Fantastic 50 likes Tiger Laverty's crew by 19. Cal Preps says Kirtland 35-17. Local matchup in Region 22. Coldwater 13-1, playing Bluffton, also 13-1. Coldwater favored by 14 by Ohio Fantastic 50, and Cal Preps likes Coldwater 31-21 in those two matchups. That game will be played at Wapak on Friday night. If you're looking for a game in this area, you're not going to one of our local teams' games, that would be a good one down at Wapak as Coldwater and Bluffton collide in that matchup.
I'd be surprised if Bluffton gets 21. And I know that's just a projection, but I'd be shocked if they get 21 on Coldwater, to be honest with you.
Coldwater's cut different.
They're cut different, yeah.
Division 6 state championship, they draw the 10:30 a.m. matchup on Saturday, December 7th. I will open up Saturday's festivities. Yeah, well, probably the worst time slot you can play.
To me, it is.
Yeah.
To me, it is.
Yeah, you got to get up, and so you never play a game at that time. It's just a different wonky thing. I tell you what, for my money, I think it's going to be Kirtland Coldwater, and man, that's going to be a matchup.
Oh,
you want to talk about kicking off a Saturday?
Yeah, and I think I remember because I didn't miss for probably 15, 17 straight years. I didn't miss a state championship weekend in Canton and Massillon, and one of my fond memories was Columbus Grove and Blaine Mag beating Marion Local 26-24.
28-26.
28-26, 2-point game in the championship. That was one of those early games, I believe.
2003.
That was the early game, right? Because I just remember. I remember
what
being.
The time was.
I think it was early because I remember being a little tired. I remember being a little tired.
I think it was the Saturday morning game.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I think sleep well. Friday night, a foreign bed in the hotel and that. Yeah. I just didn't get my Z's, but yeah, that was. Oh, I remember that.
Sure, that's what it was.
Yeah, it had to have
certain.
I think if I'd have got a good night's sleep, I'd have
better
felt
bed.
a lot better.
Yeah, and I've talked about that bed was.
just not right.
Not right.
And I still think I have. Yeah, I still have some things from that, but that's all that was. Yeah, maybe
Definitely.
got some bad food or something, but
could be.
Yeah.
Columbus Grove 14-0, 39.3 points per game, giving up just 9.6, taking on the small school giant in Ohio, Marion Local, 14-0, 47.7 points per game, giving up just 3.1. This game is at Lima on Friday night. Marion Local has won 62 straight games since their last loss in 2020's regional final to fellow MAC foe New Bremen. Since we've went to 7 divisions and Marion Local has been in Division 7, they are 27-0 versus non-MAC teams in the playoffs in Division 7. 23 of the 27 games they've won by 20 points or more. 15 of the 27 are shutouts. They've outscored their 27 foes 1,230 to 137.
Wow. 10x. Wow.
That's info from our good friend Rob Gagne down at Delphus St. John's.
He's been good to us, hasn't he?
I tell you what, if we had a matchup of stat guys, him and Ned Steck-Schulte at Columbus Grove.
That could be a little bit of a battle.
Like, these two dudes are absolutely crunching the numbers. And Rob, he just writes it out. He'll send me stuff, and it's just written out.
Okay.
And I'm amazed.
A little more old school.
Yeah.
Boy, if Ned Steck-Schulte heard you even do that, he would drop the gloves.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine the battle in that press box last week?
No.
Between those two?
No, there would have been smoke, like a cartoon, smoke coming out of their ears.
Let alone like the computer screen or the pen to paper. I mean, just the amount of documentation going on there.
Oh, Ned would have looked like a court reporter. You know what I mean? A stenographer on his computer.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is Columbus Grove's 18th playoff appearance. They're 36-16 in the playoffs. 8th regional championship for Grove. 2001, 2002, 2003, back in the great Blaine Mag days. Got back to the state semifinals in 2014, 2020, 2022, 2023, and obviously this season. Grove is 1-6 in state semifinal games. Lost to Marion Local 13-7 at Lima Stadium in 2001. The next year, fell to Hardin Northern 20-0 at Donnell Stadium. 2003, got to the state championship, beat Monroeville 27-24. That game was at Tiffin. 2014, lost to Marion Local 55-7 at Spartan Stadium in Lima. 2020, lost to Coldwater 41-27. That one was at Sydney. 2022, lost to Marion Local 27-0. That game was close for 3 quarters. That was a game that I was at 2 years ago, and then Marion Local, I think, punched in a couple there in the fourth quarter to make that spread a little bit wider. And then a year ago, Versailles knocked off the Bulldogs 30-13 at Wapauks Harmon Stadium. Grove 1-3 against Marion Local. You just talked about it, 2003 state championship. They defeated Marion Local 28-26. Grove has a record of 3-5 in playoff games at Lima Spartan Stadium. Columbus Grove head coach Andy Schaefer, 21-6 in the playoffs at Grove in 7 playoff appearances. The Bulldogs have outscored their 4 playoff opponents this season, 119-27. Outscored opponents 407-47 in the first half of games this season. Since week 8, Grove has only allowed 1 first half touchdown. That was LCC in week number 9. Now, this is a little bit different animal against this Marion Local team that heard secondhand from some Marion Local people that this is their best team ever. Their defense is fantastic, giving up just 3.1. You look at Liberty Center giving up 4.9. They're giving up 3.1. According to the experts in this matchup, Ohio Fantastic 50 likes Marion Local by 24, 93% chance of that, and Cal Preps likes Marion Local 35-13. There's only been one team that has scored in double figures this season against Marion Local, and that was, I think, on their backups or JV or junior high or whoever else they threw out there at the end.
Youth
Well,
football team.
I mean, you look at Marion Local, 14-0. There's been 5 teams this season that have scored anything.
Yeah. Well, look at Minster.
Yeah.
Played them twice. They got 7 points, and Minster's got a pretty darn good offense.
Yeah. You go back week 1, they gave up a touchdown, but not the extra point, or 2 field goals, 1 to 2. Week 3, they gave up 9 at St. Henry.
Unacceptable.
Week 5, they gave up 7 at New Bremen. And then your second round of the playoffs, they gave up 14, as you said, Lynn, and then last week gave up 7.
Tell you what, every dog has its day, though, boys. Every dog has its day. Columbus Grove doesn't have to win a best 4 out of 7 series on one night. They've got to find a way to get it done on one night. They don't have to beat them 10 times. It's like the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team in the game before the gold medal where they knocked off the Soviet Union. If they'd have played them 10 times, Soviets would have beat them 9. But on that night, do you believe in miracles, Andy Schaefer? It wouldn't be a miracle to Andy Schaefer, though. He expects to win this game. He does. He expects to win this game. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Man, I thought you were like That was a good crescendo there. And
I was wondering if he was just going to release it.
I'm going to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
We'll pump the brakes.
Man. I was getting pretty excited.
I was wondering, too.
That was a good build-up.
I was wondering, too.
It was a good build-up to just stop.
Yeah.
My word. Well, Columbus Grove, tremendous season that they put together. All foes in their way, took care of business, did it the right way, up to and including the shutout of St. John's last week. Coming up and getting in front of a buzzsaw. And, it's the way that the draw goes in the playoffs. It's how it is. But I think that it ends here for Columbus Grove, unfortunately. And I'm going to go with Marion Local, and I hope I'm wrong.
All right, well, here's what Andy Schaefer's going to say to the boys before this game.
Now, you're going to have to go through hell. Worse than any nightmare that you ever dreamed. But in the end, I know you'll be the one standing. That's right.
There you go. The all-time best Rocky movie.
Number 4.
Rocky and Drago.
Yeah.
Where he goes and trains. He's training in the barn. Drago has all this high-tech stuff. That's the Grove Bulldogs this week, boys. That's Andy Schaefer talking to his cats before the game. Huh? Probably just infringed some copyright laws there, but
Yeah.
you know,
They're going to track you down.
we'll give credit.
Yeah.
I doubt the producers are listening,
Yeah.
but
You want to release your pick or?
yeah, I tell you what, man. God. Yeah, this is tough. Because
The state championship was played last week.
I know that's
Menster
what
and
some are
Marion
saying.
Local. Marion
That's
Local won that.
That's what some are saying. Kylan Mays, Landon Houston.
State championship done.
Landon
Over with.
Houston, Grant Eversole, Trevin Baxter, Trenton Barraza, Leighton Blankmeyer. Nobody's giving them a chance. But I'm going to go with Marion Local. I'm going to because I'm not going to take that leap. But doggone it, I would love.
I hope we're wrong.
I
really
would
do.
love to see. It can happen. We know it can
How many
happen.
How many can you realistically score on Marion Local?
Well, you maybe you can block a punt, maybe.
You're gonna have something in the second or third phase, defense, special teams to win.
I think. I mean, you're going to need 21 or 24. You're going to need 24 to beat them.
How many have they given up all year, Schuller?
Hold on one moment. Let me keep going, and I'll tally that up real quick here.
It won't take you long.
No. 13.
You don't even need put your calculator away.
34.
Well, they're going to need.
They've went through a max schedule, mind you, and you think you're going to need 24.
I think you're going to need 24 to beat them, and that's saying you can hold them to 21 or 23, and those are both tall orders. It's Grove's mindset's going to be. I mean, their margin for error. This is the elephant in the room, right? Their margin for error is super thin, and I'm not saying they have to play the perfect game, but they've got to. Football's a game of it's a controlled fight, right? And it comes down to individual battles. And so Grove's got to they've got to break it down that much. You can't think about the final score. You can't even think about the second quarter. Nope. You've got to take it one play at a time, and then you've got to win more of your individual battles than Marion Local does. And Grove has guys that can win their individual battles. I just mentioned a handful of them. But can they do that throughout the course of 48 minutes, win more of those individual battles than Marion Local can? I believe that Grove has the type of kids with the type of mettle that can duke it out with them. What's concerning is what Marion Local did to Delphus St. John's. And I know there were some injuries. I know that was a different time earlier in the season. But you can't just gloss over that.
71-0.
Yeah.
And Grove beat Delphus St. John's 14-0.
I mean, that happened. So you can't act like it didn't happen.
Yep.
And talk about matchups and all those things. That's the part I can't get past. But
well, you take a Minster team that's 11-3, And they combined 2 games, beat them 42-7.
Yeah, yeah. Minster's really, really, really good.
Yeah, they made it to the regional final.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I dig this game, though, man.
Oh, it's going to be a great matchup.
I dig it.
I think
Andy Schaefer embraces this. He's got an outstanding coaching staff. And you know what? They've got nothing to lose. Let it fly, man.
You bet.
Let it fly.
No doubt about it. Other side of Division 7 in the state semifinals this week, Hillsdale 13-1 is playing Danville 12-2. Cal Preps likes Danville 31-24. Ohio Fantastic 50 likes Hillsdale by 2 points in that game.
Is it going to matter who wins that one?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
Yeah.
don't look past that Hillsdale team. Only loss this season was to Norwayne, who we talked about back in week number 10.
What was that, like 72, 71?
21-45. 21-45 loss. So they lost handily.
Yeah.
But, boy, that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Division 7 state championship game Friday, December 6th. It's the morning slot, 10:30 a.m. on Friday morning. This is when the D7 state final will get going.
It's a great thing. It's a great time of year. It's hard to do.
Here we are.
It's hard to do. There's some really good programs that have never won a title and some really good programs that maybe have won. It's hard.
It is. Yeah, no doubt about it. Thanksgiving on Thursday will be on you guys' plates.
A little bit of everything for me.
That's my kind of guy, Schuller.
You don't get my size passing up dishes at a Thanksgiving.
This goofball over here, it's probably dark meat, and that's about it. Mashed potatoes. Oh, mac and cheese.
Dark meat and mac and cheese.
That's it?
Noodles. I'll have some noodles and some mashed potatoes and gravy, but mostly dark meat, not white meat. That stuff will choke you. That stuff will
trying to keep you around for a little while. We don't want your arteries all clogged up by the time you're 50.
There's been some damage done, I can tell you.
What about your traditional things like your stuffing, for example?
Never had it, never will.
What about your side vegetable?
Never have.
He's never ate anything green.
Never.
What about your dessert of choice?
Dessert of choice would be something cheesecake related.
Okay.
I don't eat pumpkin pie. I'm maybe cheesecake.
Well, pumpkin pie falls into that vegetable category technically, I think. So
it's cutting it close.
I can see where you're...
It's cutting it close, although I walked out of here Saturday morning with some of Cheryl Mann's pumpkin cookies.
Yeah.
And
did those make it back to Napoleon?
They didn't make them to Muncie on Saturday.
Interesting.
Was it you or Cinda, though?
I don't want to throw her under the bus. She listens to Rise and Rewind every Saturday. Doesn't listen to the podcast very often, so mostly Cinda. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that stays right
I'll
here.
make sure I put that on the air Saturday morning.
But I did walk out of here. I also had a thing of cheddar brats to save for a rainy day, which happens to be as soon as I get home from recording this. And I just checked the cooler. So if you're somebody that likes those cheddar brats, they must have got a full load in here this weekend because it is packed. So get in here and get it.
Well, you got that extra Thanksgiving Day, weekend type setting. So
speaking of though,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You look like you've lost some weight. I'm being serious.
Well, I don't know if I have or not.
Okay.
He's been on the road.
Yeah. You do. You look a little more trim. Maybe it's the
Maybe he's just gearing up for Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of pre-hedging, Yeah.
How do you like your turkey? Just baked in the oven, or you like the deep fryer?
No, baked in the oven. Now we have Wednesday night. We have the Kreger Thanksgiving down in Hamler, and I've got to take wings to that. And I've got that's the appetizer. Those Kreger boys, they go freaking hog wild, man. Nobody grazes like that Kreger group. They graze like a bunch of wild animals. I don't even know how they have room for their food once it's time to eat, but.
You throw a little gravy over that turkey?
I like gravy.
Okay.
I like gravy a lot. I like gravy a lot. I mean, to the point I'll drink it.
Right. Well, I didn't know if that
Yeah.
technically falls into your. I know, like condiments are off the table for you,
it's
but
part of why I like the dark meat. You don't necessarily need gravy. That white meat, you'll choke to death if you don't have it. That stuff's horrible, man.
What's your go-to
It's like
dessert,
eating cotton
Schuller?
balls.
man, anything in the pie family.
Pumpkin?
For me. I like a little pumpkin pie. My mom, God bless her, be 90 here in April. She's going to have that all set up. Pies are
It's her
hers
thing.
to own,
Oh.
and nobody debates it.
I do like apple pie. I will tell you that.
Okay.
Love apple pie. Love it. Love
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah,
That's
I
about
like
it.
a nice slice of pie at the end with maybe a cup of coffee.
My mom made Lynn a
you right up.
rhubarb
I'm
pie.
going to just
Okay.
say I like rhubarb.
Yeah.
Is my go-to.
Yeah.
Nice.
I gotta talk to Mrs. Strock. Can I get another one of those?
Yes, you can. Can you get what is like rhubarb? Is it available now, or is it
I don't
strictly?
know.
I think a lot of people freeze it. Like, like
She might have some in her freezer.
She probably
Yeah.
does. She
She puts
probably does.
this crumble on top.
Oh yeah.
I ate the whole pie in one night,
Yeah.
and it was like giant. It was like pizza sized.
Like unapologetically,
It
just
was
sit
big.
down with a fork.
And she was so happy that you enjoyed it so much. Of course, her first words were, "Well, I have to do that again." So
Yes, please,
There you go.
Mrs. Strock, if you're listening, watching, please, I'll take a rhubarb pie anytime you
There
want to
you go.
make one.
okay, we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Guys,
make it
thanks so
happen.
much.
Thank
Happy
you, Matt.
Thanksgiving
Happy
to you. Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving to all of our listeners and followers
right.
and supporters. Thank everybody so much. We're thankful
Yes.
for everybody
Yep.
that tunes in each week to listen to us. And
Yeah, pretty lucky we get to do this, aren't
Oh,
we?
Fortunate.
Our listeners, our sponsors, right? Glenn
Yeah.
and Greg here, and
Yep.
then the coaches,
coaches,
and
players, teams,
Oh,
communities.
Yep.
Couldn't do it without everybody.
No.
We're thankful for all of them. Have a
Yep.
great week. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll
Yep.
see.
Rise and Rewind Saturday.
Saturday,
for sure.
yeah.
And we'll
Go
play
from
it by
there.
ear.